Well, hello everybody and welcome back to MBE Box Office, where we discuss and break down the top 10 best performing movies within the United Kingdom's box office. And this is for the weekend of May 10th, 12th, 2019, and coming in at number 1 this week, or should I say last week, because we are always a week behind, is Pokémon Detective Pikachu. Of course, the new Ryan Reynolds led Pokémon foray into the live action sort of a way of working. I know this has mostly been an anime sort of a cartoon show with obviously the obvious notable gaming sort of a franchises which have sprouted out from that gold, silver and stuff like that, which I used to play to the absolute death back in the day in my childhood. But now it's turned into a movie franchise, and I say it's turned into a movie franchise because this movie is absolutely fantastic. It's littered with humour, some amazing action sequences, beautiful animation, some really great performances from the cast in the main, and this will be a franchise going forward. They will expand upon this, I have no doubt about it. Incidentally, it grossed £5 million over its opening weekend. Very strong start for the movie, and I have to say, as I did say previously, the likes of Ryan Reynolds really shone as Pikachu, Detective Pikachu. His son, I believe, was played by Justice Smith. Very, very impressive performance from that young man too. You had the likes of Catherine Newton in there as well. Bill Nighy, the very great Bill Nighy, a man I love to the death, just a fantastic actor, playing a sort of a ambiguous figure, which obviously has its true identity revealed at the end of the movie. But there's a whole host of really good performances in there. Rita Ora is in there, incidentally, a singer. Never realised she had turned on sort of her attention towards acting, but tell you what, she has a very intriguing little flashback sequence in the movie, which I also really enjoyed. Incidentally, this movie has grossed $206.4 million worldwide off of a $150 million budget. It's not been out very long at all. This will make a handsome profit, and I have to say it deserves to make a handsome profit for Warner Brothers. They have a star franchise budding along here. Really enjoyed it. I'm not going to add much more to it though, because this is supposed to be primarily a facts and figures show. So I'm going to move right on very swiftly into number 2, which is of course Avengers Endgame. It's been toppled. This is its first time since its release 3 weeks ago. It's out 4 weeks now, but I'm not getting into the week behind thing. But it's the first time it's been toppled by another release. And look, it's not going to lose sleep overnight. Disney are certainly not going to lose sleep. They'll probably go back to the top spot at some point or the other. It's grossed another £4.4 million over the weekend, a fairly sizable 69.4% drop over its third weekend. I think we'll see that starting to plateau out a little bit into the 60-50% drop, and then it will just, it's essentially acting like a traditional sort of a blockbuster fare. It's just that the absolute gargantuan figures we've seen in the first 2 weeks and weekends were just astronomical. So it's now dipping down and performing like a more traditional blockbuster movie. It's still doing very, very well though. £80.3 million after 3 weeks. It's now up, I believe, to the number 6 spot in the United. Is it number 6? I'll have to double check that very quickly if I can work this iPad. It isn't my own, so I'll have to have a little look, but I do believe it's performing very, very well. It's up to number 6 in the United Kingdom's all-time box office after just 3 weeks. It doesn't make sense. The phrase or the words I'm saying here just make no sense to me. £80.4 million after 3 weeks, up to number 6. It's ridiculous. This movie, incidentally, is behind just The Last Jedi, Avatar, Spectre, Skyfall and The Force Awakens in the top 6 movies in the United Kingdom's all-time grossing movies. I think it will topple the likes of Avatar and perhaps even make a run at number 3 and topple Spectre. I think Skyfall with £103.2 million and also The Force Awakens way out with £123.2 million are just a little bit too far away for it to reach, but I do think it will top 95 million pounds. I don't think an extra £15 million just 3 weeks into its box office stint is unattainable, although it has started dropping off quite noticeably. In terms of the United States figures, it's now sitting just second in the United States, $770.8 million, just shy of The Force Awakens, which it will not catch there either. Worldwide box office, it's just crossed $2.6 billion worldwide. This movie looked like an absolute certainty to pass Avatar as the #1 all-time grossing movie. I think it'll still do it, but it will perhaps stutter over the line. There is only $180 million or something like that in it, not even that, but that $180 million will be a very tough one to obviously make up and eventually pass Avatar with, but I think it will do it. Coming in at number 3 in this week's UK box office is The Hustle, which is of course the Universal Pictures Anne Hathaway, and I can't recall who the big blonde lady is, release. It's a comedy, sort of a heist thing where she's training this woman up to be a sort of a protege in the heist world. It's crossed £1 million in its opening weekend, sitting at £1.2 million overall. It must have opened in the middle of a week, and it's carried that performance over into the weekend. It's a very decent start for a movie we both reacted to, me and Stephen. We reacted to the trailers and I think both got reasonable laughs out of it. It looked promising. It's grossed $51.2 million worldwide, which again, not having the budget information in front of me, I can't really compare it and say whether it's a strong start, mediocre or just okay, but I feel like it's okay. I feel in my bones it may be okay. But I'm going to move on. I've not seen it yet, to a movie which I've also not seen, and it's a long shot. It's 2 weeks in. This is of course the Lionsgate release starring Seth Rogen and I want to say Charlize Theron. It's obviously a comedy romance primarily, not a rom-com. I think there's comedy primarily being used with splatterings of romance in there to obviously add something nice as a side arc to the story. It's these two people, I believe it's his first crush, he meets her, falls for her, ends up becoming part of her presidential campaign and team. And well, I've not seen it, so I'm not going to speak like I have seen it. It's grossed £400,000 this weekend, incidentally. That's a drop of 51.5 million. 51.5 million, hit wishes, 51.5% I should say, in its second weekend. It's now sitting at a total gross in the United Kingdom of £1.8 million. That is, it's not great, I'm not going to lie, it's not great at all, but looks Lionsgate. I've spoke about Lionsgate time and again, not my favourite studio. They do release John Wick, which I have just went and seen incidentally the other day, so I'm a bit of a hypocrite, but I like to see them crash and burn 9 times out of 10, though not with John Wick, and I don't think they will with that incidentally. A very good film which I'll be speaking about next week on the box office show. In terms of long shot though, back to that, let's not go off on a tangent. It has grossed $32.7 million worldwide, which is it's okay. I've not got the budget information on me, but it doesn't strike me as having a massive budget. May be proven wrong. It may be sitting with a $50-70 million budget and it's crashing and burning, but I really doubt it. So look, hats off to it, it's doing okay. I may pop along and see it because I did enjoy the trailers, as I did say. But I'm going to move on to number 5. Finally, another movie I've seen in this week's box office. That's me up to 3 out of 5, not too bad I don't think. It's The Curse of La Llorona, or La Llorona. This is obviously another Warner Brothers release. They're doing very well this week. It's opened, well, no, it's not opened, it's been out 2 weeks, I didn't see it last week, sorry about that. It's grossed another £243,000 this weekend. It's a 60.6% drop. It's actually dropped 42 theatres in its second week too, which is quite ominous for a movie which is just released. Its total gross is now sitting at £1.2 million. That is absolutely crap. But look, it only had a $9 million budget, and its overall box office in the worldwide scale is not absolutely crap. It's sitting at $115.2 million worldwide. That is very impressive for what I can only describe as, quite frankly, a mediocre movie. It wasn't great, I have to say. I was looking forward to it. I really enjoyed the trailers. They look spooky, they look quite creepy. Paranormal elements, obviously an urban legend from Mexico, as they like to call it, I believe. I'm not from there. About this woman who was a jilted lover, jealous of her husband, I think having an affair, they say in the movie, drowns his children, the most precious things to him, and then she subsequently goes off and haunts other children and tries to kill them and make them obviously suffer the same fate as her kids. It wasn't a great movie. I can't sit here and lie and say it was. Utilised all the cheap parlour tricks we see in many a modern day horror movie. Lots of dark settings and rooms and doors opening and billowing curtains, and it just wasn't that scary. It really wasn't scary at all. I was laughing at certain scenes involving this La Llorona character. I can't even really pick out any real great standout performances. Maybe Linda Cardellini, I think she was the main mother who was a support worker. She was okay. I find this more concerning for Michael Chavez and him moving forward. He's obviously working on The Conjuring number 3. The Conjuring 3, I should say. I don't know why I said number. But he's working on The Conjuring 3. And I was excited about that prospect, seeing the early promotion for La Llorona. But having seen the movie, it's got me concerned that they are perhaps going down the nun route again with, I think it was, I can't recall the guy's name, I think it was Hardy. Something Hardy was the guy that directed that movie. Wasn't a great movie, utilised cheap parlour tricks, lots of sound to make the audience feel scared. This felt like a similar thing. The one saving grace for this movie, I feel, was just that dive into the South American culture. Again, looking at how they deal with death and obviously urban legends. That was intriguing. I always like to look into different cultures, and I've seen it with obviously Coco a year or so ago, and that was one thing that I had going for it, but not a lot else. But look, I am going to move on to number 6, which is Dumbo 2019. Incidentally, I've just had a light blow, so hence the cut. I think that was actually La Llorona herself coming to get me because she wasn't happy about me criticising a movie about her. Tough shit, I'm not a child. But look, I digress. Dumbo has grossed another £239,000 this weekend, taking its total gross in the United Kingdom to a rather decent £24.7 million. This is obviously the Tim Burton remake of the Disney classic. I've spoke about it time and again over the last few weeks about its artistic merits. I actually quite enjoyed it. The traditional sort of a dark elements that a Tim Burton release will give you, and it done obviously enough to rejuvenate a classic Disney movie. I enjoyed it. I liked the performances of Colin Farrell and so on. I think Danny DeVito's in there as well. I'm pretty sure I always get him mixed up with Joe Pesci. Definitely Danny DeVito though. Pretty damn good. I enjoyed it. It's doing well at the United Kingdom's box office. Worldwide it's doing pretty swimmingly as well. $344.9 million, $170 million budget. It's not a huge profit, but look, Disney I think are releasing 5 animated remasters this year alone. Jungle Book, or not Jungle Book, that was a couple of years ago. Obviously Aladdin, Dumbo, The Lion King, and then we're getting the Lady and the Tramp later on in the year. So yeah, and also Toy Story, which Pixar technically doesn't count, but 4 classic remakes, so they're rolling in money, they don't care. It's done okay. I liked it, as I did say, for the 5th time, and I'm going to move on that note to number 7, another movie which I haven't seen. I had the chance to watch a couple of movies over the last week. This drew the short straw. I will get round to watching this for next week's show because I am a big Tolkien fan, and of course on that note it is Tolkien coming in at number 7 in the United Kingdom's box office. It's grossed another £237,000 over the weekend. It's dropped 57.7% in its second weekend. Not too bad of a drop, I have to say. It dropped 4 theatres as well, don't know what that's about, but it's grossed £1.3 million at the box office. I've not got any budget information, but this strikes me as a classic small budget period piece. May be wrong, it's a Fox Searchlight release. They are, I think, are about to go under. They're getting cut with the Disney Fox merger, incidentally. I have great studio. But look, I've not got any information on worldwide numbers because it hasn't had a wide release, which is a real tragedy because Tolkien is a worldwide renowned figure, much loved figure. So to see it getting a narrow sort of a limited release in the United Kingdom alone, quite disappointing. But look, I will get round to watching it. It's doing okay. It's not great. I can't sort of shine up a turd, but it's doing okay. And I'm going to move on to the next movie in the box office. It's number 8 and it's Amazing Grace. It's a Studio Canal release. It's about the late great Aretha Franklin. I believe it is a release that's focusing on some performance she had in a church or something like that. I don't know, back in the 70s. It's crossed £166,000 in its opening weekend. It's shown in just 69 theatres, so that's a pretty decent performance. I actually seen one person speak about it, and he says it was a pretty fantastic movie, actually. So I'm intrigued by it. I don't think I'll go and see it in the theatre, but if it comes on at some point, perhaps on a Netflix or whatnot, then I may give it a bash. Who knows? And I'm going to move on swiftly on that note because I don't think it's got any widespread release. It hasn't. It's only grossed $3.7 million world in the United States, so can't give you worldwide box office figures if they're not there. And the next movie, incidentally, in the United Kingdom's box office, before I dig myself an almighty hole, is number 9, and it is Met Opera Dialogues de Carmélites. I don't know what the hell that is. Strikes me as perhaps a French movie. It's certainly foreign language. It's grossed £141,000 over the weekend. It's its opening weekend. It's shown in just 204 theatres. I have not got a clue about this movie. I think it's a musical. There's no production budget information. It hasn't got a widespread release. It's done okay, I suppose. £141,000. It's not bad for a movie of this ilk. I've not got much to add to it. I'm not going to go and see it myself. But hats off to all involved for breaking into the top 10 of the United Kingdom's box office. I tip my hat to you. But finally, this week's show is Wonder Park. It's obviously coming in at number 10. It's grossed another £109,000 over the weekend, taking its total gross to just shy of £4.4 million at the box office. It's dropped another 54.1%. Incidentally, it's down nearly 100 theatres. Its time is, I think, just about up at the box office. It's now sitting at just over $115.4 million worldwide. I don't have box office information on before the movie. This is a recurring theme throughout this show. But look, it's a Paramount release. It gets slaughtered. I think it perhaps has flopped. I don't think it's done enough to eke out a profit. But look, hats off to all involved in it nonetheless. I am not a movie maker. I wish I was. I actually quite like the trailers. And if it comes on a streaming service, like I said, for a whole plethora of other movies throughout the time doing box office, then I will give it a watch. But I am not going to be going along to the cinema or the theatre to give it a bash. There's too many big releases coming out. And look guys, that is going to round up this week's episode of Box Office. What did you make of all the various different films within the box office? Are you shocked that Endgame has been toppled with Detective Pikachu? Have you seen Detective Pikachu like me? Did you enjoy it as much as I did? Do you feel this is perhaps a new franchise on the making or in the making? If you did, you know what to do. Comment below and let us know. Let me know what your thoughts were. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. You'll get more content like this if you do. And I'll be back with Stephen tomorrow with MBE Heroes.